Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
The Shack is back. Greetings, Koopalings, and welcome to the first Nintendo Shack of 2021, the flagship Nintendo show that you need on the PSVG Podcast Network. My name is Donnie Reese, and tonight we record episode 165, where we will have to suffer the Monster Hunter wrath from Garrett for at least a few minutes before we talk about what everybody wants to talk about. I'm joined here by Rebecca and Garrett, like I am each and every week. And before we get into what we've been doing over the Christmas break, let us thank those that help keep the boat afloat over at patreon.com. So, thank you so much here in the new year. Michael Masick, Barry Cathcart, Edwin Callow, Nick Creature, Rude Days 93, Ben Moxham, Nick Fallhaber, Paul Calico, Kyle Heyman, Grouchy Sturge, Chris McElfresh, Devin Tyus, Josh Borboni, and Rob Emanuel. Rebecca, how you been? What you been up to?
I've been doing good. Had a good Christmas, had a good New Year. I feel like it didn't feel like either of those things. It's just been kind of time off from work that was desperately needed. I'm back at work now, but I did get some gaming time in. So I've been just mostly doing a lot of like relaxing and visiting older games before I dive into the new things in 2021. I did a 100% playthrough of the Minish Cap, which I haven't played that game since I was a kid when it first came out. I've been wanting to do a 100% run of that game for a really long time because there's more to do in this game than most other Zelda games. It is one of my favorite Zelda games. Most people think it's my favorite. It's not, but it's up there for me. And playing the 100% playthrough made me appreciate it a lot more, just with how in-depth Capcom went with this game, that I think a lot of people don't know about. I think it's an underrated Zelda to begin with, but there's 136 figurines to collect. There's 100 different Kinstone fusions, which are basically side quests. There's more heart pieces than most Zelda games. There's just so much to do. So it really made me appreciate that. It took me a week to do it. I think it took me about 35 hours to finally get everything. There's a lot of RNG involved. I did all of that on stream. It was a lot of fun.
Never played it.
This was originally a Game Boy Advance game, right?
It was Game Boy Advance, yeah. And there's a ton of stuff in that game that people don't know. There's light arrows in that game. People don't know there's remote bombs.
I would know that.
There's so many things that you would miss if you were just doing a normal playthrough of it. So.
Never played it.
You should play it. We should play it together, Donnie.
Listen, Donnie, if you like Wind Waker, you should play it because there's a lot of character overlap, a lot of like music overlap.
I tried playing it when it came out on the Wii U eShop, and I was just like, no, I'm not.
Really?
It didn't like look great playing it with like the Wii gamepad as the double touchscreen. It was just kind of weird.
You should give it another chance because it does have a lot of similarities to Wind Waker since it came out right around the same time. I think Capcom took some pages out of that book. So I will recommend it. I think it has a lot of charm to it.
I'll wait for the remake.
If you're just playing the main story, it's not a super long game. It's very easy. I didn't have a single game over in my 100%. It's really fun. A lot of fun.
Nice.
Besides that, I really haven't played anything like brand new. I do have some stuff that I'm planning on starting in 2021 before like we start getting new releases. But I did also want to mention I finally watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World after everybody encouraging me to. I don't want to get yelled at, but
you're going
to. Probably wasn't for me. I don't know if it was just hyped up too much.
Is it possible to hype up Scott Pilgrim versus the World too much?
What do you mean it isn't for you?
What
did not click? Chris Evans didn't click for you?
I will say I liked the Zelda music that randomly played. I'm still not sure why it played, but it was cool. Mm-hmm. It felt like a lot of the same stuff over and over again. It jumped around a lot. I was confused a lot. I don't know. I don't want to talk badly about it because I know everybody listening to this really loves that movie. I feel like I might have liked it a lot more if I had watched it when it first came out. I was in high school. It seems like the kind of movie, like the plot was a daydream that somebody would have like while they're sitting bored in math class. Like they're the hero of this story of like getting the girl. I don't know.
Look at all these suck-ups in the chat just sucking up to Rebecca. Whatever Rebecca says goes. Look, guys, I know she's like famous and everything, but you don't have to just go along with her. Okay? Come on, guys. Sean says in the chat, he goes, wait, you play Minish with a touchscreen? I don't really remember, but it's a DS game they put on Wii U, and it's got like the weird emulation, right?
No. You're thinking of Phantom Hourglass, I think.
Yeah.
This was not a DS game. This was
GBA, Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, Game Boy Advance. This is not the sequel to Wind Waker.
Okay. All right. Maybe I should try it again.
Yeah, you should.
Just buy a Retro Pocket 2, and then just
I've got it. I got it on the Wii U. It's sitting right there. I could just play it.
Wii U is just whatever.
I'm sorry, Scott Pilgrim fans.
Can I play it on my 3DS?
You can't say I didn't try. What?
Yes.
Is it on 3DS?
I have it on 3DS.
Garrett, do you have an Ambassador 3DS?
Yeah, that's the Ambassador one.
That's why you have it.
Yeah. I'm a fancy pants.
Yeah. That's a bummer. Maybe they'll remake it. Like they remake every Zelda eventually so long.
Or just release it on Switch.
I've been wondering about that because technically it's developed by Capcom. We haven't got a remake of the Oracle games, which were developed by Capcom. Those came out first. So I don't really know how that works. Like I know Nintendo has the power to remake that game.
I had this like weird thing that came back to my head where I remember they released some portable games that I had never had on Wii U, but they had like this weird emulation where you could play like both screens on the gamepad or both screens on the TV.
That's terrible.
I was like, games.
What is this awful thing?
That's awful.
It was
Why
awful.
would you do that?
Okay. So maybe I haven't. Yeah, maybe I've just never played it.
You need to try because it will remind you a lot of not like the plot of Wind Waker. Like I don't want to say it's similar in that aspect of it, but like a lot of the same characters, a lot of the same, type of charm that it has.
Maybe I'll look into it next time in a Zelda mood. But back to this.
It's $8.
Scott Pilgrim, because the game's coming out next week and it's going to be amazing.
I think the game will be a lot more fun than the movie.
I think the problem is I think you just need to watch the movie again. I think you just need to keep watching it.
Just watch it like 10 years later and feel nostalgia for it, like me. So.
Maybe that will happen. I don't know. Maybe nostalgia. I don't know.
Brie Larson.
I'm sorry. I gave it a really, really, really.
God, I love that movie.
Aubrey Plaza.
You can't say I didn't try. I did like Aubrey Plaza. She was. I liked seeing her. I can't say I liked.
Listen here, Jared. I watched it too when I tweeted at you over the break. We watched it again. I've watched that movie. I've watched that movie like 100 times.
Well, when did you first see it? When it first came out?
Yeah, a long time
ago.
First
came out, yeah.
That's how I discovered Metric, who I've seen twice.
Metric is
I've seen the band
awesome
twice.
band.
Metric's amazing. All of my kids know all the lyrics to Metric. So
and Black Sheep.
Rebecca, if you don't listen to Metric, you should.
Okay,
it's a good band.
Well, okay,
it's a great band. My wife
last time you told me something was great.
Oh no!
No, I'm just kidding. I will give everything a fair chance. I did try
Golf Story and Scott Pilgrim. I am 2 for 2. Strike.
Okay, but the thing is, I did like Golf Story.
Just didn't finish it.
I just didn't finish it.
Barely got through it. Yeah.
It's because I'm not good at golf, not because I didn't like it.
Well, it's unfortunate you didn't like the movie. I love the movie.
I'm sorry.
I played a bunch of Bit Trip Runner with all the Bit Trip games that released on Christmas Day. If you don't remember, you can buy them all for like $10. They're like $2 a piece. You buy one, it's weird. You buy one for like $3 and you get the other ones for like $1.50 or whatever. So I played a bunch of those. I played John Wick Hex. I don't like that game.
Oh, really? Can you explain that?
It's weird. It's got that mechanic. Like, I'm going to say this, it's not the same thing, but it's the only thing I can think of, like Child of Light, where you have a timer. Like as you perform actions and move and stuff, it wears out a timer. Not unlike Valkyria, right? Mm-hmm. But the menus and everything and how you do combat and how you pull it all up together. Because like you can throw your gun or you can like sneak up with people and hit them, but how it pays for that stamina and how you choose and how you move and all that, that is not what I thought I could have ever wanted in a John Wick game. Which is shame on me because I knew it was a tactics game right? Like I had seen the trailer, so I knew what it was. I just didn't know it was that involved. Probably for you, Garrett. Much more of a involved tactics game than I could have ever.
It's in my backlog. It's on Epic. I'm
not ashamed of getting it. It was one of those things where I played it for 10 minutes. I mean, talk about judging a book for it. Yeah, I'm just like, no, this is not what I want at all. So
usually you can tell if it's for you or not within that time.
Yeah.
Do you like the Mike Bithell games? Do you care for them?
Give me some other ones. I don't.
Oh man, I am blanking out now.
I know he did like some weird robot game that Seth likes. That's the only thing I know when you say the name.
There was another game. I just can't think of the titles right now. But,
probably not.
Yeah.
Judging off this, maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know what I don't even know what I had in mind, right? But it just wasn't this. Like this was very, very involved. So anyway, I don't want to. It's probably a great game, just not for me, right? So I started going through a bunch of indie stuff, and we did Sonic Olympic Games. We played a bunch of that. I did not know you can play football in that game. Like, not soccer, like rugby.
Actual football.
Like
no, not American
football.
Not American football, but you can play rugby, which is really close.
Oh, that's rough.
No, it's not. It's fun. Like me and Jack had a blast playing rugby against each other. We were like, this is as close as we're going to get to American football Mario game.
I just want to see a bunch of Nintendo and Sonic characters just beating up each other. This is just
that would be fun.
I mean, we did karate. There's boxing. Okay. Like we had a lot of fun with it. Actually, we played it for a day and we had a blast. And like I said, I started like just kind of wrapping up some indies. Ooh, I tried to go back to Paper Mario. Played it for about an hour, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm glad I stopped." Like, just yeah. So
like,
I deleted it off my SD card.
Wow.
I started cleaning up the SD card. Started going through the backlog, like getting rid of stuff that I'm not playing anymore. And as I told you I was going to before we went on break, I sat down and I was like, you know what? It's time to play No More Heroes 2. I bought it. I'm so excited for it. It's time to play it. I love that game. And I'm so glad that I sat down and played it, and I had an absolute blast. And I shared the most lewd clips and pictures to our official Nintendo Shack Twitter account.
I saw that. I'm like,
it'll ruin any chance that we ever have of working closely with Nintendo when they see any of that stuff. Absolutely having a ball, having a blast. And I was just remembering why I love that game so much. And I kept taking like little clips and showing it to my wife, and she was like, "What in the smut are you playing? What the hell is this?" You played
it on Switch. That's Nintendo approved.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't even think they do that.
Their game.
I'm wondering if somebody like slid that in the paperwork with the rest of the games, like the higher ups don't even know. Just had a blast with it, and it looks great. It feels great, which brings me to the new installation that I have put into the collection, and that would be the Split Pad Pro Switch, whatever these things are called. And I have the Pikachu Pokemon ones.
Shiny.
Which I gotta tell you, this isn't nearly as gaudy as the pictures made it seem. Like when I saw the pictures, I was expecting this to be like reflective gold. Like very, it's not. It's just painted on there. It's kind of matte. It's really not nearly as bad as I expected it to be. It is giant. If you did see this Game Gear that I'm holding across the screen, it is massive.
It's wonderful.
Okay. I'm really glad that I waited to play No More Heroes 2 until I had these. I don't think I want to play No More Heroes 2 or a game like it, and I'm thinking of like Bayonetta and stuff like that without these. It is such an improvement to have buttons and real sticks that you can really
get in
move with, and because with the Joy-Con you're gonna probably mess it up.
I love the sticks too a lot. It's just so much more precise, right? It's much more area of movement with those. So. When
I first got them, it felt real foreign that I was holding. It felt so big, and I was just like, man, this is a little bit much. My one complaint that I have is I find when I'm holding it in the palm of my hand right against that edge right there, that feels hot. Like it starts to warm up a lot.
Really?
For whatever reason, my hand always feels a little warm right there. And I'm always kind of like pulling my hand off and like wiping it off. But that's really my only complaint with it, because I got to tell you, Garrett, when I first started playing with it, I kept going back and forth between it and the Satisfy. And I was like, I don't know which one I think is better. I think the Satisfy is better. And after about 3 or 4 days, I kind of just kept playing with the split pad.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a week went by and I just played with it nonstop and I didn't even think twice about it. And I do think this is kind of like my go-to way that I've played, at least over Christmas break. I played No More Heroes almost completely this way. Because like I said, I'm smashing all the buttons. I'm flicking the stick and I'm recharging my beam katana and I'm going crazy. And it's just it's an improvement. It's much better. So
that's good. You don't feel like your hands are just very far apart while you're playing? It feels natural?
Yeah, no, it feels very comfortable in that regard. Okay. Like I said, I wish, I'm not sure. I was wondering if it's like, it's got this textured grooving, like this etching
it's a little weird
on the bottom. So like if I put my fingernails on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear that.
I'll
do that.
It's like a little grid. You know?
Yeah, and I was wondering if that's making my hands feel like the way they are. Because it's like warm or hot or... Like, I don't know. I don't even know exactly how to explain it. It's not necessarily like sweaty, but yeah, it just kind of feels not comfy, right? But I guess there.
I guess I just didn't really notice it, but maybe I haven't played like really extensive amount of time, or I just maybe not notice it because I just leave my hand off the controls a lot. I'm not really sure. I think my one complaint about this thing is that there's so many different, I don't know, like gadgets or novelties in there that's like, it seems worthless, like the extra turbo buttons and the assign buttons
and the triggers and the back pads.
And I'm like, why is this here? Like,
yeah, I could turn it off. Yeah. I played Doom with it.
Mm-hmm.
After hearing Elaine go on and on about Doom 64, I immediately bought that up and I went and played Doom with it. And yeah, I actually think it's weird. I've never thought of buying a controller for a specific game, but for like a fighter, a shooter, or a button masher, like I think I would recommend these over the regular Joy-Cons pretty handily.
Anything that you would need accuracy for, I feel like would be useful for.
I played 3D All-Stars with these and I'm like, so much better than
it is. Really nice D-pad.
I feel the Joy-Cons again. I'm like, I don't ever want to go back to this. I have my Switch Lite right here. I'm like, it's fine. It's just the sticks are they're just little nubs compared to these. So
yeah.
Astral Chain was so much better.
You don't have that travel that you have with these, right? Like there's so much more freedom of movement, which matters a ton in No More Heroes, because No More Heroes, you are just smashing buttons. And when you've got to recharge your beam katana, like my wife, she heard me and I was playing and she's like, what are you doing over there? Because she hears me every 2 minutes. I'm like, because I just kind of like, wiggle the stick to get back in it, because you've got a bunch of enemies and they're like closing all around you and you gotta move. And so anyway, I had a blast. So happy that No More Heroes and all of those are on there. I have more things to share with everybody, but it's going to take a while before it all arrives and stuff. But I got
exciting stuff.
I got so nostalgic and excited, I went and bought stuff. So stay tuned.
I always encourage that. Go buy things.
Go buy stuff. Yeah. I'm really excited about what I bought too. I can't wait to share it with everybody.
Nice.
Garrett, how was your break?
Yes, it was good. Just chilled here and just at home. I did not go back to family because flying's like off limits right now, and I would have to be quarantined and all that other business with school. So I just, stuck around, played some games, had a little bit of off time. So one of the games that I've been actually addicted to. So Grindstone is great. It's a good game. It's a great indie game if you want to get into a puzzle-y, turn-based, whatever. But oh my goodness, Dicey Dungeons. That is more of my style.
I've heard a lot of good things about this one.
It's a great game. It's I think it's out on PC, and it just came to Switch. It is a turn-based dice roguelite dungeon crawler game. And so basically what you do is you choose one of the characters that has a dice. You could be like a certain class, like a warrior, a thief, or whatever. And then you just go through the dungeon, and then you encounter certain monsters or whatever.
I'm looking this up on Steam.
Yeah. It's pretty. Yeah, it's a pretty simple, like just drawing or whatever. You have a loadout, and then you throw the dice, and then depending on where the dice lands, you kind of put the dice inside your little cards or loadout, and then you like attack your monster, or you put shield on yourself. It's a basic like Pokemon turn-based strategy game, and I'm just so addicted to it because it's so accessible. Like I could just go through one run for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I'm like, you know what, I feel like doing another run, and just like keep on going and trying to beat them. And like as you go through like certain battles, you get more dice, You get more loadouts. You get upgradable of these little cards. It gets really elaborate with the types of ailments like ice, like kind of like instead of like you throwing like a 6 and a 5 and a 4, if you have like 3 frozen ice on you, all of them turn into 1s. And so you kind of have to manage like based on what you have on you, what the opponent throws on you. And in each character like has like a special perk. So like the warrior lets you re-roll the dice like up to 3 times in a battle. The thief, basically you roll extra 1s, and that actually helps you out in your loadout, what you have. It's just so cool. It's a fun little creative strategy game that I'm just enamored by right now. Sounds
like it's exactly your type of game.
Yeah, it's addictive. It's pretty cheap. I think it's like $15. And so I'm like, you know what? I was just trying to get into it. And I was like, this is definitely my field. I don't like roguelites as much, but this type of roguelite, I don't feel like it's not action heavy, right? I'm not really invested into like the movements or like what I could do better. It's just turn-based. And so it's just down my road. So I'm loving it. I can play it like handheld in one hand, like touchscreen. Because you could just throw the dice inside the loadouts, and it actually controls really nicely touchscreen versus controller. So.
Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, I started a game on my 3DS, which is it's a DS game. The World Ends With You. You guys heard of it? The sequel's coming out this year, so I wanted to try it out. I'm not too far into it, so I don't want to say much about it. But
didn't they remaster it for Switch?
They did, but like so I haven't really seen much gameplay with the Switch, but the reviews and the impressions I've seen is like, no, I think people say the best version's on the DS.
Oh wow.
And here's why. I think because when you go, so basically The World Ends With You is like an action hack and slash gameplay. And so when you encounter monsters in this game, you have 2 characters, one on the bottom and one on the top screen. And so on the bottom screen, you do certain gestures into the screen to attack, depending on what loadout you have. You can have a sword or a shock or an icicle, whatever. Depending on you go up, it can be like an icicle. And like if you like swish back and forth, that could be like a slashing sword. So that's like the bottom screen. But then you have to toggle back and forth to the top screen. And the top screen, you have to mess with your A, B, X, and Y buttons to attack the monsters up above. And so you're facing the same monsters in both screens. It's just you're tagging back and forth with both of your characters. And then you'll get into sync, and then you can have ultimate attacks and stuff like that. So I think that's why on DS is better, because you've got 2 separate screens and you're interacting them toggling. I don't know how they do that on Switch. But I'm having fun so far. It's a deep story. So it reminds me a lot of Persona, where it's like this guy gets thrown into a world that's kind of a copy of the other world, and they're playing a game. They're trying to figure out how to get out of this game. And this character, the main character that you are, he's kind of a dark, kind of lonely, kind of grungy, like that teenage punk, like, oh, I don't want to do anything or whatever. And then your companions,
Team Skull.
Yeah, basically. Your companion's a girl that's like outgoing and talking and bubbly, and so you guys have to kind of work together to go through certain tasks of this game. But yeah, I'm not too far into it, but it seems like there's a lot to it. So I'm not gonna explain too much right now. Maybe in a few weeks, I'll explain more impressions of it. So
cool.
Have fun.
Before we get into This Week in Nintendo, I want to pause for the cause that we have started up, as PSVG has partnered with podcasts across the internet to Game for Guru, which we announced on our Twitter feeds the day before yesterday. PSVG's part in this effort will take place on Sunday the 17th. So next week's show, that'll normally air on next Thursday, will be delayed a few days as we delay it until Sunday. We will be live on air Sunday at noon. What we're doing is we are raising money for our good friend, the Nintendo guru, Bobby Pauls, who had contracted COVID around Halloween and had to be in medically induced coma and was on respirators and ventilators for 2 months. And as we still wish him well as he makes his recovery, we're trying to raise some money for him. So we have partnered together with the Nintendo Dads and Sean Capri and the Mega Dads and Quest for Pixels and all kinds of other people. And like I said, we've got a whole schedule and a whole bunch of details. I'm not going to run through it all. Find it on our Twitter. Come to our Discord. You'll find all of it. We have more to announce. We're going to start really pushing it next week is really kind of the push as we lead up to it. But it's already announced. You can qualify now. PSVG is putting up mini prizes to include an Xbox Series S. I have like a little Switch Lite accessory bundle that I've put together. We've got gift cards. We've got games, digital games. I believe collectively we have like 1,000 digital codes that we're going to be handing out. And we've got Switch codes and all kinds of stuff. So here is the deal. You get registered by donating $10. So if you donate $10 for the cause, you get an entry. Everybody's entries goes into one big pot, and we're going to pull them for. So you enter once, you are entered for all of the prizes. You don't have to pick and choose or which people. We're doing this as a collective effort. So any donation between right now and the time you're hearing this until the 17th, or until I think maybe later than that, the 25th maybe, you can be entered and eligible, and you can help support a friend of the podcast. And all of us know Bobby. All of us have podcasts with Bobby. We've been on his show. Bobby has been to the Nintendo Shack multiple times. He's been on PSVG multiple times. So this is our way of supporting our friend. And PSVG's part, like I said, will be Sunday. We kick off at 10 a.m., Garrett and I, with Game Tech, and we'll go right into Nintendo Shack. Garrett's kind of the Iron Man of the day as he continues the stream after the Shack. And we're going to do Empire. We're going to do PSXP. Kevin's playing Fortnite. We're going to be on live all day from 10 a.m. until midnight. We're going to be live streaming for Guru. So file that away. Remember, next week we're going to tweet a bunch about it. So you'll see it for myself, Garrett, and Rebecca throughout the week. I'm going to start giving codes away next week on Twitter for folks to help us retweet and spread the word. So we've got games going out. You don't even have to donate. So stay tuned. We'll have a lot of that information out starting on Monday. So this week in Nintendo, or the past couple weeks in Nintendo, kind of started off with a bang as Nintendo has acquired Canadian developer Next Level Games.
Yay!
Xbox buys Bethesda and Nintendo buys Next Level Games.
I mean, that's a good get for them.
A studio that I'm sure most people thought they already owned.
It's like, oh wait, they made Luigi's Mansion. What?
Yeah, this is the studio behind Luigi's Mansion, Mario Strikers, Punch-Out on Wii, which is fantastic, and Metroid Federation Force, which I still liked. I'm not telling you it's a great game, but I didn't think it was half as bad as people wanted it to be. So this is a second-party developer that Nintendo has already had, and what essentially happened was their shareholders, or their ownership, wanted to sell. They were looking to get out of the business, so they basically approached Nintendo. It's kind of like Rare, where they were like, "Hey, we're gonna sell our ownership stake, so we can either take it public, or you can buy it." And this is probably just Nintendo securing their own second party. Like, yeah, we don't want you to take it public, so we'll go ahead and take this off your hands.
It's a smart move. I know a
Absolutely.
lot of people were saying, what's the point? But it only helps, I think, with whatever games are going to be coming from out of them in the future.
Typically, first-party studios get more resources than second-party and contracted, so they'll probably hire more people to work for them, or they'll have a budget to hire more people to work for them. I mean, I've said a bunch. I'm not going to go on, but Luigi's Mansion, I think, is fantastic on Switch. I think it's really good. It's one of the Switch's best games, and I say that for all kinds of technological and animation reasons. It is a step up from where Nintendo, like even Odyssey, like Luigi's Mansion is fantastic in the animation and really art style. So I could only imagine really great things should come out of them, which takes us to a question from Thrack94. With Nintendo buying Next Level Games, you think they will make more games like Strikers or just become the Luigi's Mansion team? So, like I said earlier, they've done a lot more than just Luigi's Mansion, but man, I would love to see Strikers come back.
I don't know if it would be Strikers specifically, but I would think they'll do more games than just Luigi's Mansion. I mean, I would not be surprised if Luigi's Mansion 4 will be in the works at some point. It just makes way too much sense. But if they're buying this, this studio and they're giving them more resources and, bigger teams and bigger budgets is what we would think they would be doing. I would think that they'll put out more games than just Luigi's Mansion. Yeah. I would like to see another Strikers. I don't know if I would buy it, but I think a lot of people would like that. I
would love to see another Strikers. And
yeah, me too.
I mean, Nintendo's got EAD and they've got all their internal teams, but it's not like they don't have enough IP to share. I could absolutely see Next Level Games doing a Donkey Kong game. You know, like with Retro working on Metroid, like could they do that? Yeah, they absolutely could do something like that. They could do a lot more. And if they make, if you look at their history, like clockwork, Next Level has basically provided them a first party AAA, exclusive every 3 years. So
at least.
Yeah. So what if they beefed up even more?
Yeah.
You could have 2 teams going on, or like a lot of studios do what I would call like 1.5 teams. While one team is working on the game, they kind of have a smaller team that's pre-production on the next game, and they kind of flip-flop.
Just to get it rolling out faster. Yeah. Definitely, I could see that.
You could do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind them bringing back some of those older, like the last Punch-Out was on the Wii, right? That was a long time ago at this point.
I'd love a Punch-Out return.
Some kind of revival for that. Or, I don't know, is it possible they could even use them to make a new IP? I would even like that.
Yeah, no, they could. For sure. I would like to see that. I think a lot of Nintendo fans would like to see them start to roll out some new IP.
Just give them resources to develop something kind of on their own.
Yeah. So that's really nice. And we have another question about kind of some other developers that Nintendo could possibly look at. I know that was all the rage. It seems like the trend right now is who's going to buy who. So they're like, they bought Next Level. Who are they going to buy next? So we can talk a little bit about that later. Garrett, I'm going to go refresh my drink. Why don't you take
get hyped. Get hyped, everyone. Monster Hunter Rise coming out later this year in March, late March. All right. We got a Monster Hunter Rise digital event today. It was just a short 20-minute presentation, very tight as what they normally do with Capcom. They showed off a new trailer and then showed off more monsters, new and returning monsters. Guys, I'm not I played some Monster Hunter World, but I'm not a Monster Hunter fan. You have to understand, get the same level with me. I don't know these monsters as well as Kaiju does, or any other Monster Hunter.
I'm not sure if anybody
Legacy
knows these
fan.
monsters as well as Kaiju does.
So I'm gonna name them out because they're right here. Gross Herog, Gross Herald, yes, the Lagombi, Kezu, Great Baggy, Mizusune. Kaiju was like all the rage with Mizusune. Apparently, he was a previous monster.
Great Baggy.
Great Baggy.
These were just made up, right?
And the flagship monster, Magna Malo. I think I got that monster.
It's a Pokemon.
It literally looks like a Pokemon.
One name.
Yeah, no. All these look dope, and the combat looks great. And each of these monsters, I think, they looked all very unique. All like small to large, different kinds of attacks that they have. I think they're doing a very good job of showcasing what kinds of monsters that they're going to have in the game. I like how they always do this. They create new monsters, but also bring legacy monsters back into the fold, which is really cool. They showed off a new land. It's like very snowy land in this trailer, very similar to Iceborne. I think the newest thing that was really cool about this trailer is the wyvern riding.
Yep.
And so basically, you got these wyverns that are like basically dragons that with wings, and then with your wire bug, you can kind of just get on top of them and just go fly around and go and attack other monsters with it. And I think it's kind of cool because we've never seen that before in a Monster Hunter game. They introduced the characters in the base. It's just whatever. It's just naming off all the characters that are there. They had a first look at the training base, so you can train, you can try different combos and attacks with different classes if you want to. And then the last of it is the details of the demo that actually just came out right now. So now, when this episode comes out or live on the show, it's out. I've had it downloaded on my Switch. I was eager to play it, but it was 10 minutes before the show recording, so couldn't do it. They have 4 different quests there. One of them is the wyvern riding, and then you can try all 13 different classes with those missions. So, guys, get hyped.
Garrett wanted to cancel the show so he could go play it, but we wouldn't let him.
Yeah,
that's right.
I was like, guys, I'm busy, Monster Hunter, and they're like, nope. Gotta record.
This is a series that I really want to get into. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just something is off-putting about it. It feels. I did try one of the games on the 3DS. I don't even remember which one I tried. Mm-hmm. It was very overwhelming.
Monster Hunter 4.
I think
I guess so.
it can be overwhelming. It's definitely a learning curve, especially with Monster Hunter World too. It's just the combat you have to get used to, the dodging you have to get used to. I think I find it better once
the combat I took to pretty well. It's all of the menus and the customization and the
it was just a lot. There was a lot in my face.
Yeah.
I remember when I was playing it. Like I didn't know what to do to start.
Oh, really? Okay. I think
it's just a lot of.
I think you need someone to like help you out, and like
Probably.
first, you can even stream it, and people will join you. Like,
oh man,
they'll definitely
say that, but that will make it even more overwhelming.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, people are out there to help you out with this. But
I would
once
like to try it again.
Yeah, once you get a groove going with this, it's really fun, and it's an RPG. So you just get the loot, you go out, attack all the monsters you need, you get the materials, you come back, you craft more weapons and armor.
And that's the part where I was like, this is the game?
Yeah, it's rinse and repeat.
I'm good.
And then you keep going.
Kevin wants to know, Garrett, convince me why I should play Monster Hunter. Donnie convinced me why I shouldn't. Rebecca convinced me to play something else. Who wants to go first?
Oh my god.
I'll go first. Kevin, I feel like I can do this fairly easy. Kevin's never going to play Monster Hunter. And even if I say he's never going to, he's not even going to play it out of spite. Because here's the thing. Kevin has reviews to do. Kevin's not sinking hundreds of hours into anything. Because Kevin's got new games coming in the door every week. And he's got paragraphs to write. And he's got to put them up. So Kevin, you can't possibly stop doing everything that you're doing to play 400 hours of Monster Hunter. Let alone coordinate and synchronize your schedule with 3 other people, because you need to play this with friends. Monster Hunter,
you don't need to play it with other friends.
No, you do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
No,
it gets much harder to do it if you don't have friends. You need to play it with friends.
No. You could play it by itself you could be okay by yourself until like late game, until you're like 200-hour mark. And Kevin's not going to go there. Kevin, here's the thing.
Kevin's not playing anything 200-hour
Hold on.
mark.
Donnie's trying to be all logical here. I'm here to tell you.
This is fun.
There are dogs, and you can ride on those dogs, and you can put armor on those dogs, and you can pet those dogs.
Do you really think this is the pitch for Kevin?
Hold on.
That's the pitch for me.
Dogs,
you're convincing me, Garrett.
And cats. You got the meow scenarios. There's so many cat puns in this game. You're going to be laughing your butt off for like the first hour. And then I think you got your $60 worth after that, right? I think you do. Kevin, you should play with me and all the other PSVG crew that's going to be into it. It's going to be great.
We'll see.
It's going to be great.
I know your backlog. We'll see.
Oh, my backlog. Don't, please.
We'll see, Garrett. I'm taking the field on this one.
Rebecca?
Why he should play something else instead?
Yeah.
I think it's all the same reasons of what Donnie said. You could probably play 3 more games.
80 other games, or you could play Monster Hunter.
In the time that you play Monster Hunter.
We have so much fun with the dogs and cats, Kevin.
It's going to be, look, I'm poke fun at Monster Hunter. It is a series that I also wish I could get into, and I tried on 3DS and Wii U. I like that you could like play both and stuff, and I tried, and I think I played like 20 hours of it. And, Jack and I were playing. Yeah, it's just it's the same reason why I don't Destiny. It's the same reason why I don't do any of those things. Like,
right.
This is never the game for me. And as much as I love the trailer and I think it looks great for a Switch game, I'm very impressed with the way it looks and everything. I just know it's not for me.
It's a loot grind.
Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Yeah.
Come talk to me when Stories 2 comes.
Definitely. I think try out the demo, though. It looks pretty versatile and pretty different than the previous Monster Hunter games. Just try out a mission.
No,
Donnie, just try out a mission.
Demo. What's so bad about trying that?
It's not that it's bad. It's that I could be playing something else. That's the thing.
Sorry that I want you to try out for like 15 minutes.
What if you end up really liking it and you missed out on this great game that you would have liked?
That I'm going to be talking about.
It's a siege I could be doing in Valhalla. It's a siege Garrett could be doing in Valhalla. It's a god he could be freeing in Phoenix.
This is when I drink.
I hope you all have a great time with Monster Hunter. Did they show off a new Switch?
No, they didn't. Unfortunately,
that's unfortunate. Maybe they'll show it soon.
I would expect that. Like that always happens with Monster Hunter, and it didn't happen.
Like I said, maybe they'll show it soon, as a Switch revision has been found in the Switch's recent firmware leaks. This comes from notable leaker and data miner and software hacker Michael Sayers. Via a data mine, he says the new Switch model is codenamed either Aula or Aula.
I'm thinking Aula.
Yeah.
Aula.
Okay.
Aula. Yeah.
Aula?
Like
Aula.
Aura or Aula.
Yeah.
Okay. Codenamed Aula, the new Switch has a Marico chip in it. It's the same chip that the current Switch and Switch Lite have, and features an OLED screen, but he's unsure if it has 4K or not. However, there are lots of references in the firmware to a Realtek chip with 4K Ultra HD multimedia capabilities in the firmware, which leads Michael Sayers to speculate that maybe this other chip is actually in the dock. Aula has new general purpose I/O throughput that the current version 2 Switch does not have, which leads him to think that the dock, if this is a dock that can boost things, will not be compatible with your current hardware. So if you already have a Switch, you can't buy the new dock and not the new Switch and still get the same benefits. While others believe that this might just be kind of some sort of backwards compatibility mode with the old Switch. I've seen a lot of what I would call informed sources kind of speculate over that. I would say that last part seems probably not the case. And I have spoke to a good friend of the show who told me that he believes a lot of this is probably true. So this is kind of what we're looking at for the long, often rumored Switch Pro. What do you guys think?
I don't like this rumor as much than what I'm hoping.
Really?
2 chips? No, I don't want a chip in a dock. Do you think I want to put a Switch in my dock? And it's magically more powerful now. No, I'm not putting my Switch to a 4K TV.
I was really interested in, and I didn't get confirmation on this yet, but I was asking said friend, is this a situation where it's like 2 systems? And what I mean by that is, when you're playing on the go, the Switch itself is the Marico chip is powering it. And then when you dock it, basically the game is no longer running on the Switch. It's now running specifically on the dock. Or is this a situation where the chip on the dock merely boosts and enhances what the actual Switch itself is running? Now, I know that's way too technical really for anybody to care about.
That's a game tech.
That's a game tech thing, but that's where my mind was going. I was like, I'm really interested. Is this a chip that's dedicated to upscaling, or is this a chip that's literally running? And I think just to get the reason why I'm thinking there, those 2 things have very different price potential.
Yeah, no.
So that's why I'm thinking about that. I'm like, ooh, how expensive could this be if it's these 2 things? I'm thinking, is the dock an NVIDIA Shield and the Switch is a Switch? Or is the dock merely something that has an upscaler with a little juice in it? Right.
Yeah. I just don't like the point of 2 chips, one for the dock and one for the handheld. Because NVIDIA is good for scaling, is good for DLSS. And so if you put a better chip inside the Switch and better upscale, it'll have the upscaling technology it needs for that chip. If you're still sticking with the same chip, I'm sure it may have some upscaling technology, but not as much as probably.
It's going to be overclocked.
Yeah.
And friend of the show said that people shouldn't be so upset to hear that it's a Marico chip. As he puts it, there's a lot of power in that chip that's being untapped in the current Switch models.
I just hear about that chip being old in 2017. So if there's a better chip out there at the same-ish price
point. But the Marico
now,
was refreshed, right? It wasn't the original.
Was it refreshed?
Yeah, okay. The Marico chip, we had the original Tegra X1, and the Marico is a refresh X1. And the Marico that we have now is an underclocked version of itself.
Interesting.
I believe the Marico chip is in a Shield that does much higher performance. Not next gen console performance, but higher performance than what we currently have on a Switch. I think they underclocked it for battery life purposes.
I see. So if they overclocked it, that could be a substantial 20 to 30% more powerful.
And if they found a more efficient battery to allow them to overclock it, you could have the same amount of battery life or a more efficient screen the same amount of battery life with a much higher potential system.
And an OLED screen. Oh boy, that would be so nice. Guys, I have an OLED. Isn't it an OLED Vita 1?
Yeah. Vita's OLED.
Which is the best.
Rebecca, you were laughing.
In the chat, there's always a better chip if Doritos taught me anything.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, this is very interesting, and time will tell. I'm excited about a new screen.
Mm-hmm.
The screen that we currently have, I've said since it launched, I think leaves a lot to be desired. The picture never looks, I think the graphics, the visual detail of the games, even without them being improved in performance, would look a lot better on a more vibrant screen.
Yes.
They kind of mutes the colors, has like I always say haze. I don't know the right word. It's like the contrast of like the white scale is too high on the Switch, portably. When you put it on TV, the colors are more bright, it's more vibrant. I could only imagine if maybe if this new chip can have HDR capabilities, like what that could do to games, even at the same levels we have now, right? But yeah, if you could get 20-30% more performance out of it, that could steady some frame rates.
Did this rumor not say anything else about any other hardware updates? Like we were talking about hopes that we had for things like Joy-Con controller changes. It didn't say anything about that.
Just referencing a new version.
More about that.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm
getting sick of the Joy-Con.
I kind of care more about storage and memory throughput than to be honest with you, than the chip itself. Like the load times and things like that could be greatly improved with some change there as well. So these aren't the only upgrades that it could have, but this is kind of what do you guys think about this overall? Like, are you now convinced that it's happening?
Yes,
it's happening.
I've been convinced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it's happening soon?
I think it's going to be this year.
Yeah.
Do you think it's happening first half of the year?
I could see an announcement.
Okay.
See, we're on the same level here.
Like end of March by the latest, I think.
And I think they're going to release it in the fall with a big tentpole AAA game.
I was wondering if, and I think you're right, but I was wondering if they might release it early. And just like they did with like the first Switch, like they just have a game, like a fall or like a spring game, they release it and allows them to build stock as they lead into that big tentpole game that we think is there in the fall.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah. Nintendo has opened up a new website for Mario 3D World and the Bowser's Fury update, which the website says stay tuned for more information, which begs Carlos asking, when do you expect Nintendo to talk about their plans for this year, this month, or sometime between February and March? He expects a direct mini or something that at least explains what Bowser's Fury is, but based on recent history, they might just tweet about it.
Honestly, at this point, yeah.
Sure. Or YouTube video. It's like, boom.
I think especially for this type of game now that it's a remake, it's not like they're going to market it a lot, but I don't think it's going to be a huge push that we would see for a brand new first party game.
Okay. Do you think we'll get anything? Do you think we'll get any sort of plans on what they're doing for the first half of the year before Mario 3D World releases?
When does Mario 3D World release?
February.
Late February? Yeah, I think
it's early February. It's like February 14th or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I think I don't think we can go through all of January without hearing something, whether it's a direct or just tweets or something. I don't know. We have to get something, I feel like. Yeah,
a little bit more information later this month. I don't know about Direct, guys. I don't know if a Direct or a Direct Mini is going to be expected this month.
I'm going to table this topic because one of the things I was planning on doing, one of the things you notice is not in our notes, is I was thinking next week we could talk about 2021 kind of in depth. I know that's all the rage right now. Everybody's talking about predictions, stuff like that. So I felt like we'd save that for the Gaming for Guru, and we talk about all of that in Directs and stuff like that. But since we had the hardware rumor and it's all around, I felt like now is the time to address at least the hardware part of it. I'm going to buy the new Switch whenever.
Oh, me too. It's gonna be pre-ordered.
We're all going to buy a new Switch, except Rebecca.
This isn't what I really wanted, but I'm so there on that.
Yeah. They're going to be like, look at this screen. I mean, an OLED alone is probably like if they released the same model Switch with an OLED, I would have upgraded for that alone. Yeah, if it has any performance boost. Because I'd mentioned I'm not sure if you guys saw my tweet. I tweeted over, like, I really hope that this is soon because I got to tell you, like, my Switch feels like it feels old to me at this point. Like,
it's feeling old now.
Like I feel like it's missing some juice. I'm like,
it's 3.5 years. It's almost 4 years old.
You know, when I play games on it, I'm like, do better. Like, like be better, be faster.
Why is the fan running like this? Like,
it's kind of a part of it, right? And it's like I want it to be. I want to get all excited about Nintendo again. I want to buy a new Switch. I want to buy new games. I want to play it. And I want it to look great. So I'm real excited about this rumor. I hope it's soon. I would love nothing more for them to announce like it's releasing in April with Splatoon 3 or something. That would be incredible.
Oh, that would be great.
Rebecca, let's get into some questions.
All right. Lowry Legend wants to know, would you be excited to see a new Donkey Kong Country game made by Playtonic Games since Retro is busy with Metroid Prime 4?
Yes, do it, Playtonic.
What's happening with them? Didn't they like down staff or like basically like kind of shutter?
I have no idea. Can you shed some light on that?
I haven't heard anything from them since. Didn't they? They did the sequel to Yooka-Laylee. They did the Impossible Lair and
Yep.
Nothing?
I'm wondering if I may have them confused with somebody else, but I wonder. I mean, maybe was it the Lucky's Tale folks? One of those folks just like they put the game out and then they basically just like fired everybody. And like
I did not hear about that for Playtonic Games.
They didn't close, but they just like went skeleton crew. But I don't remember. I don't remember who it was. But yeah, we haven't heard from them in a while. And yeah, if you were going to license out an IP like that, Playtonic is a really good, bet to do it. I mean, they've got experience. They made it. The new Yooka-Laylee was fantastic. I would love to see something like that.
It makes sense.
100% for it. Apparently, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair was an incredible 2D platformer.
You should play it.
I think, didn't we mention them? We got a question months ago, like what developers would you lend Nintendo IP out to? I'm pretty sure we said them for Donkey Kong.
I've been saying them for like any Rare IP. Like I've been saying this for Xbox for a while now. I'm like, give them Conker, give them Banjo, let them make a game because they did. Like they made a Rare game.
They did.
They did it. Give them the IP Rare. And let them go do it. That would make a lot of sense.
Canadian Crawler wants to know, what is your favorite place to visit and take in scenery in Breath of the Wild? Said his is climbing up to the Peak of Awakening and waiting for one of the dragons to pop up.
Anywhere in the Akala region.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That whole grass, fall, leaves kind of thing. Yeah, I love that whole little area of the map.
I really like in the southeast corner, I think it is, in the Farron region with all of like the waterfalls and like the jungly trees.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Guys, I need to play this game again. I don't know.
I'm waiting for Breath of the Wild 2 to get closer.
I've never really taken scenery with Breath of the Wild. Like, I know it's pretty. I know it's
lying.
But it's just like...
That hurts.
Okay, cool art. Now I'm just going to play the game.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I said it.
Okay, cool art.
Let's just play the game. I'm here to be the buzzkill.
Whenever we get final confirmation on when we can expect Breath of the Wild 2, I immediately expect to start scheduling another Breath of the Wild Go soon. Mm-hmm. I could play it again.
I need to play it again.
You should do it now so that you don't feel burnt out on Zelda by the time it comes out.
Impossible.
That is true.
Does not compute.
So no answer, Garrett. Just the game's.
I'm sorry. I am drawing a blank. When I read that question, I'm like, wait, what? You guys taking sceneries for this game? Like, and you guys have specific locations? Like, I can't believe this.
Since I beat this game, every once in a while, I'll boot it up and just
walk around. Yeah,
really?
I do the same thing.
Oh.
Do the same thing.
Horse, I'll just let them go on a path.
I'm totally in a different mindset.
Yeah.
Terrytown? Beautiful little stroll.
Listen to the music.
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Dude, you need to. I listen to that Rito mix all the time. That's great working music, Garrett.
Neighbor Mountains, do some shield surfing down the mountain.
Oh, I've done the shield surfing. It's nice.
So okay, there you go.
I don't know. I don't know.
Cool art, guys.
Cool art.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Jarwin7X wants to know, what is your most disappointing game of all time? Something you were really hyped for that let you down.
So I love this question because disappointing doesn't mean bad. Right. Like we've all liked bad games, or didn't like bad games, but Disappointing is a different thing. That's like you're really excited, you wanted it, you followed all the news, you talked about it, and then it came out and it let you down. What do you got for me, Rebecca?
So, okay, this is just at the time. My answer has changed since then.
Scott Pilgrim.
Like, I feel different about it.
Totally.
For me, I remember when Mario Maker 1 came out on Wii U. That was a game I was super hyped for, super excited. I was in college, and for whatever reason, that weekend that it came out, I wasn't able to get to the store to go buy it physically because you guys know I like physical games. So I bought it digitally. Never really played it for more than like 5 hours or so. At the time, I wasn't like on Twitter or anything. I didn't have anyone to like share levels with or download their levels. I just didn't play it as much as I thought I was going to. And I don't know why I thought I would like it so much, seeing as I wasn't even a huge Mario fan at that time to begin with. But I just remember being so hyped, like this is going to be like such a creative mode. Like I've always wanted that type of thing. And then I just didn't play it or like it very much. It was disappointing to me because it was probably, I thought it was a good game, but it wasn't for me, even though I wanted it to be. I did end up liking Mario Maker 2 a lot more because of the social aspect.
Those amiibo courses, I have them all saved to my Wii U, and I'm never, ever going to get rid of it because of those. I want them to keep them forever. What about you, Garrett?
So, yeah, for me, I guess I'll keep it Nintendo related, and maybe a hot take. I'm not sure, but really it's Super Smash Brothers Brawl. So I got that game, I forgot, it was just so long ago now, like 2007. It's somewhere around there. I played a ton of Melee. I am a Melee Super Smash Bros. Melee person through and through, and so when they had a new Super Smash Brothers game, of course, as a little kid, Garrett, middle school Garrett, is like, he's enthralled. Can't wait to play the new Super Smash Brothers game. I unlocked all the characters. I went through Space Embassy, and then I started playing with my friends. And I'm like, there's just something that I'm not getting. And I just, first of all, I wasn't as good in this game. So I was like, well, no, I need to be the best. I need to go back to Melee and just beat everyone. But it really was just the feel of the characters. They were so bouncy, so light. And I think that's what they were trying to tip the scales. I think Nintendo was trying to make it as light and bouncy as they could versus Melee, trying to be more like, accessible to new players, which I get. But for me, I'm just like, this is a totally different game in the way they manage these characters. Like, they may have the same movesets, but the way they feel is very different than Melee. And I was very disappointed. My favorite character, Falco. Falco's my favorite character in Melee. And they completely changed the movesets in Brawl. And it made me so sad. I'm like, I can't play Falco anymore because they completely changed the way he was. And so I had to go to Wolf, and then I had to go to Fox, and then they weren't like feeling it for me. I don't know. Brawl was just, I played it, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Let's go back to Melee. And then they finally had a mod for Brawl that made it Melee-like, and I liked it again. So that's my story.
I was really excited for Star Fox Zero. I was really excited for Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival.
Really?
And yeah, I was. Because at that time we had all the Amiibo. And my daughter loved Animal Crossing, and like she loved it on 3DS, and they showed this, and I was like, it's gonna be so good. And we got it, and it was so bad. Deadly Premonition 2. I was really excited for it. I pre-ordered it after beating the last one. I was like, this could be so good. And it's just really bad. It's not even that it let me down. It's just awful. It's just a bad game. But I have better ones. Sean in the chat says Mario 3D All-Stars, which I understand. I think it was one of my more disappointing games last year. But even with it not doing as much as I wanted it to do, it's still an HD version of Galaxy, which is excellent. And it's still Sunshine, which you can't play without a GameCube until then, which is great. And it's still 64. And it is somewhat HD-ified 64. Even if it still has all the same issues it had before, it's still pretty good. But my answers that I thought, that I think are best for me in this one, starting from like 4 to first, Heavy Rain is a game that PlayStation fans told me forever that they thought I would like, that I did not like at all. I hated it. I just expectations were too high.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, this is not good. Connect. I was so hook, line, and sinker
Xbox
when I saw Connect
Oh.
for the first time, and they had the Milo demo and stuff on stage. I was like, Connect's gonna be the next wave of gaming. It's so good. Connect. And then I got Connect and brought it home.
And then it's like, oh,
Oh boy, this is not good, guys. The first Connect was not great.
no.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is something that I looked forward to for years. Coming off of
Really?
GTA 5. I never got super into Red Dead. Or, I mean, that's not true. I mean, I played and beat Red Dead Redemption 2. It was never like the game of the year game for me. But after coming off of GTA 5, which I absolutely loved, I was like, man, Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be so far. That game couldn't have been a further miss for me. Like, I almost hated it.
Sad.
I almost like molecularly hated Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, it's slow animations when you're pressing buttons and controls.
It's
like
very slow.
It feels like there's lag or latency in the game, and
It's just so calm.
and
Like,
exactly.
it's trying to be calm.
and it's meant to. Like, they meant to do it. It's purposeful, and I hate
Yeah,
it.
it's very
It
purposeful.
drives me nuts, and it's such an acute Jerry Seinfeld dumb thing to not like about a game. But when you do it over and over and over,
Right.
I was like,
with you.
this is killing me. But the number one game that I
hear
think that I was most excited for, over the moon excited for, that really let me down, is Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Oh,
Oh, that's not where we.
but that's not the game I was thinking either.
Where did you guys think I was going?
The Last of Us Part 2.
No.
Where we thought you were going.
As I mentioned, I think The Last of Us Part 2 is an excellent game.
Yeah.
So it didn't really let me down in in regards as a product. And now it's not what I wanted from a storyline aspect at all. And for that reason, I really don't like it. But outside of that, like, it's really good. And I played it to finish, and like, it's fine. It just really, this is sad to
It's
say.
a fine game, yeah.
It lowered my like love for the franchise a lot.
I think
so sad.
And it makes me sad
I
to
think
say
it's
it, but
the
it
same
like
for me,
it
too.
just takes me. The only thing that I can equate to it is like if you had a favorite TV show for years and they like recast a character or something that you liked, or they killed off a character that you liked. That's how I feel about The Last of Us now. It's like I love the first season.
Equated to Game of Thrones, how the first couple seasons were great, and then by the end, it did kind of ruin
the last
entire
season was
thing.
bad. The last season was
That
bad.
is an understatement.
That's how I feel about The Last of Us 2. It's like it. Not only did I not like where they took the franchise, but I hated what they did to the part of the franchise that I liked. You know, like that's the part that hurts. It's like you ruined this thing that I loved. You didn't ruin it, but you changed this thing that I loved about it. So now you
took it
kind of
away
make
from
me.
me.
Yeah, you took it away from me. That's how I feel. It's like you took that from me. No, Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Okay.
I was coming off of an all-time high with Pokemon, with Jack in my back pocket who loves Pokemon and plays them all. And I was like, God, we love Pokemon. And we lost our minds on Pokemon Sun and Moon. And we did the streams with Lobo and Caro, and I loved Pokemon Sun and Moon. And I thought they were great and probably definitely my favorite
great,
modern
yeah.
Pokemon. I love Sun and Moon. And I was like, Sword and Shield's gonna be epic. It's Breath of the Wild Pokemon. There's all this stuff. Look at it. And whoof, what a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
I remember those episodes I was doing with Caro at the time where we were playing it and you were almost reluctantly playing it. We're like, oh, we're still going, I guess. And it just, Pokemon Sword and Shield just missed it for me completely.
Guys, I can't make it through that story. I'm a Pokemon fan. I think of myself, I've beaten the games a lot. This one, I'm just like, I'm hour 3 and I'm like, no.
Yeah, the story's,
I don't want to play this
the story's
anymore.
awful. And every time I say it, every Pokemon fan says the same to me. Who plays it for the story? Well, I do. And I realize that they're not like great epics of drama, but some of them are good, and then I'm invested and I want to see them. They've got good characters and good dialogue, and this one doesn't. It's almost like it's almost void of any of that. It's to even call it mediocre, I feel like is a compliment. It's just like devoid of any storytelling.
I feel like for years, and Sword and Shield is not an exception. I play through the main story as quickly as possible, just so I can kind of focus on my collecting and my team building and whatever tower is at the end.
And I do feel like Sword and Shield is a response to players like you. And it's like, it's just that. It's like, look, the story is this thing, but that's not the game. This is the game. The open areas, the towers, the raids. But I have never played Pokemon for that reason. So that does nothing for me. You know, I don't do shinies. I don't hunt. I don't breed. I don't care. I don't collect them all. But Pokemon Sun and Moon's story, I still see was fantastic. I love.
Can't get myself through Sun and Moon.
You didn't go through it?
No, I did. But
okay.
It felt like just like a slog. Like,
You're like the whole like abusive parent Pokemon trainer type stuff going on, and
that's not why I play Pokemon.
I know, but like Team Skull and was it Marnie and stuff like.
Do it all over again.
I was kind of digging it. I was digging it.
I just like the journey of Pokemon, of raising the levels of my Pokemon, and that's
becoming
like,
the best.
Becoming the best like no one ever was, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just this game, Sword and Shield. I'm like, man, I guess I'm just hitting a fatigue or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I gotta beat it.
Yep.
I like the collecting, and that's probably at this point what I'll play Pokemon for, is just the collecting part of it.
Mm. We'll see. There's rumors abound that we'll have something else, right? Elias's Marnie was in Sword and Shield. Who's the one that I'm thinking about?
Lumina, or whatever her name was. Not Lumina. What was her name?
I don't remember. But yeah.
She was long blonde.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So anyway, yeah, those were the ones that disappointed me, I think, the most.
West 3DP wants to know, what are your gaming goals for 2021?
To not be as disappointed. No.
That's a good one.
To not mention Kevin on Nintendo Shack.
You just broke it.
Well, you just did.
Right. But from here on out, just that's
like right here.
Yeah.
He who not be named.
That's it.
Okay. Sounds good. That's a good one. I have actually started up something with the Backlog Busters with Grouchy. They're doing a bingo type of thing. So like you could like choose like the board you kind of want, and then you just play and beat the game, whatever fits best with each situation. And if you go like one row across or one column down throughout the year, you get like a free, like, I don't know, like a gift card, eShop gift card or something like that. I think it's a good way to like search my backlog and see what kind of interesting games I have and what can fill that void for me. So I think it can make a pretty good dent on my backlog while I'm chasing these hundreds of hours JRPGs and Monster Hunters and Bravely Defaults, you know. Will I ever beat my backlog? Probably not, but
no, there's no such thing as beating your backlog.
I could try, you know, exploring the different genres I have, and like the so many different platforms I have, you know, play different games.
I like it. I have two, and I tweeted them earlier. My one is to try and play at least one indie game every month. Whether I beat it or, you know, if I do more than one, you know, it doesn't matter. Just kind of on average, at least one a month, because normally I'm very into the indies. Looking back at the games that I played last year, I didn't play as many as I normally do. So I want to kind of make more of an effort to go out there and find, not necessarily even like what are the big indies that everybody's playing, but try to go out of my way and find like, you know, more niche things, or like things that aren't getting as much attention, like maybe the underrated ones that I would really enjoy that just aren't being talked about. So I'm going to try that. That being said, I am going to be starting with a one that's really mainstream with Ori. But I'm going to try to just kind of expand with, you know, some games that maybe don't get played as much. And then my other gaming goal is to become partnered on Twitch in 2021.
I think you can do that easy.
It's hard. I hope so.
Well, you'll have to apply twice probably, but
most people apply several times before they get it. So that's, I hope so.
Maybe she's gonna come tell us that she doesn't like Ori as much either.
Scott Poker and then Ori.
It's like, sorry, Donnie.
Then I'm going on to the second one.
The art style's cool. It's just, I don't know. It's just not a game for me.
That's okay. When I say so, like, and
cool
I
art.
Ori, but like in
cool art.
What?
Cool art, guys.
Cool art.
I'm gonna play the game now.
Fine, I guess. Okay. Any other goals?
No. Here's the thing. I don't make goals.
Yeah.
We get this question every year about this year, and I feel bad when I say it because it sounds snarky, but I don't mean it to be that way. I just don't. I don't make goals. I never have, ever. I'm not the type of person. I just kind of go.
Well, I think of my backlog like a lot. It's like, okay, what kind of games do I need to beat throughout the year? It's just like, it feels like commitment to a hobby that
I don't even think about a backlog. I don't care. I quit games all the time. Doesn't bother me at all.
I know. It's just like, I don't want to like feel like I'm committing. It's like, well, then I'm not enjoying it if I'm committing to it. Does that make sense? It's just like you're playing games to have fun.
That's kind of how I always look at it. That's exactly how I look at it. It's like I play what I'm enjoying, and if I'm not enjoying it, then I let it go.
My backlog is a mix of two things: games that I've bought and haven't started yet, which grows
so much.
Yeah, I got a lot of those.
One thing that I think we say what we're talking about when we say backlog. The other thing is, like, there's games that I stopped playing, not necessarily because I didn't like them, but maybe because I moved on to like a new release and then it kind of fizzled out, or like maybe it didn't click with me at the time, but like I felt like maybe someday it would, and I did go back to it and it did click with me. Maybe a couple years later.
Maybe you just played it a lot.
What?
That's how I feel with all of these RPGs and stuff. It's like you played it a lot.
Yeah.
You don't have to play it for 300 hours. Like you've played a game for 50 hours. Like that's a lot of time.
Yeah. So for RPGs that are never ending, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna be like, okay. But if it's like a story, like let's say Persona 5, and I'm 60 hours in and I'm halfway through the story, and it's like I gotta see this till the end. I'm invested too much. If I'm invested too much in a game, I gotta finish it. So it just depends.
That's the part that I try to never let myself get to, is I never want to feel like I need to, have to. I don't want to feel like a chore, like I'm not putting any sort of pressure on myself to do so. Like I'm over 70 hours in Valhalla. I would like to finish it. If I don't, I really won't care. Like if I move on to something else.
You're 70 hours.
But I'm loving what I'm playing. That's why I keep playing it, because I am in it. I'm loving what I'm doing.
Like it's not like a race to see who can play the most games or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if you're having fun with it, just keep playing it.
Yeah.
Direct94 says, me with Dragon Quest 11. Oh my gosh, the stories I hear about that. I know people enjoy it, but I hear it's just like over 100 hours of just JRPG, and I'm like, I don't know if I have that in me anymore.
I quit Dragon Quest 11 around 40 hours. And I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I've played this game a lot. I'm ready to play something else now.
Yeah.
And I just quit. And Kara would shame me for it every week. And I'm like, who cares?
I can't do that. If I'm 40 hours into a JRPG that has a story, I'm going to finish it. And it's just, that's just how I am.
Like if it's a story, you want to finish it. You want to see how it ends, how it plays out.
Yeah.
If it's indefinite, that's different.
So, again, depends game to game for you. Yeah. How much you enjoy it.
For sure. Where are we? Zelda Gift World wants to know, what are your thoughts on controller batteries? Nintendo and PlayStation use rechargeable internal batteries. Microsoft, who is a partner with Duracell, uses AA batteries. Do they still use batteries?
They do, but the only thing I heard when you asked this question was, what's the deal with the controllers and batteries?
They got batteries that are rechargeable.
Why do they do that?
Because they have a partnership with Duracell.
I saw that earlier today. Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. For years, we have had this debate come up at various times, usually in the Discord. I really want to know why people care at all. But for either way, like, who cares? Who cares? But here's the thing. You don't have to use the batteries. They have charging packs that you can put in yourself. Yeah. You can use rechargeable batteries. Like, there's a bajillion different options. So who cares if it has batteries or not? I don't.
Donnie, we're gamers. We need to have an opinion about every single piece of tech.
But it's like this weird thing that people are like, I don't want controllers that can possibly use batteries. It's like, why do you care that much?
I just love how the Sony...
That's me. I wouldn't buy... Like, I would buy a rechargeable controller.
I have rechargeable battery packs, but I also have batteries. Here's my answer to this question. I don't like controllers that you can't replace the batteries on. That's my answer. So I would prefer to be able to replace the battery in a Switch. Yes. I would prefer to be able to replace the battery in a DualShock. I like the Xbox controller because the battery is an optional, easily replaceable part. You can.
Have you had an issue? Like, have you had a scenario where you had to replace it?
My DualShock 4 controller, before I bought my new PlayStation 4, boy, it would tap out in like 2 hours of a charge. Like, it was just so bad. The batteries needed to be replaced. And I wanted to be able to replace them, but you've got to take the whole damn thing apart, and you got to get a tri-wing screwdriver, and you got to, like, that's too much. So I would prefer the option to where the battery is accessible, because all batteries are wearable parts, every one of them. So I always prefer, like the 3DS. You can pop the back plate off, that battery pops right off, and you can replace it. That's my answer to this question. I prefer that. I don't care if it's AA batteries or an actual battery pack. I just want it to be easily to be replaced.
Well, I haven't had a PlayStation in the time that they've had wireless controllers, but all I know is that I have thousands of hours with this thing.
Yeah.
And I get 50 hours in a charge, and I don't need to worry about replacing batteries or buying batteries or scraping battery acid every single time I go without playing this for months.
Yeah.
I hate batteries. I hate the Wii remotes for that reason. I will always, always, always love just to recharge this, use it for 50 hours.
I bought battery packs for my Wii remotes. I bought battery packs for my Xbox controllers, all with battery packs.
So I don't mind each way, but as Donnie said, I have rechargeable battery packs, and I just pop those things whenever the Xbox controller runs out of power. It's like, all right, let's just flip it to the other one. Yeah, he has the little pack back there. And then like the Switch Pro controller, as you said, Rebecca, with your controller, it's a long time, and so I'm really like, nice with it. It's very, very, I'm very satisfied with it.
Yeah.
So I would like it, but still, if the battery's going to run out, it's going to run out eventually. I'm hearing horror stories of the PSP batteries being popped open now. It's like the time. It's like it's aging to the point where that thing's going to be rusting and gone. Your Vitas, your 3DSs, all your handhelds are going to be toast unless you treat it properly, which is mid-charge and whatever.
And they tell people, like, if you've got 3DSs that you're keeping like as collector's item stuff, then they tell you to take the battery out.
Yeah, they take the battery out.
Because even if you're not using them, it's still deteriorating, just sitting there connected to the system. It's like, take the battery out. Yeah.
That's why I have a Vita TV, because it doesn't need a battery, and I'm going to still need to play Vita games when I'm like 80 years old. So, It's a pointless argument, though. I
was not aware that Microsoft still used batteries in their controllers.
And then if you connect the Xbox controller to your PC, like it right next to you, you don't need batteries. It's just, you just connect it micro USB and you're fine if you're using it with.
Yeah, I hate connecting. Wired. I hate doing the wired thing.
Well, I mean, like if your PC's next to you and you just pop that micro USB in, and then you're good.
You can change the Switch's battery, right? But you have to take.
You can take it apart. Yeah, sure. And
do you have to take the screen off?
No, you don't.
Okay, that's good.
You don't have to take the screen. So it's the back part, I think.
Okay.
That you take apart.
Do you got to take the fan off? I
don't think so.
I've taken the back plate off of it, and I don't think I saw a battery. I don't remember. It's been a minute, though. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, like that's my only thing about batteries. I don't care if they take Duracells or whatever. I just want the batteries to be easily replaceable. I hate like phones that you can't replace the batteries
on. Phones are
on.
done. Yeah.
Like that's what I don't like. I don't want to see that happen across the board.
Literally gonna have to put a hot gun next to the phone in order to detach it or something.
Yeah, that's a pain. That's a pain.
Soundscape wants to know, should Nintendo acquire an American company to better cater to this market? If so, which company would you like to see Nintendo scoop up?
That's a good question.
It's a great question that I prepared for.
I did not prepare.
I did not prepare for this.
So let me ask you this. Do you think they need to buy an American company to cater to the West?
No.
Yeah, I'm almost full-heartedly agree with you guys. I don't even think if Nintendo even had quote unquote a Western game, how much the core Nintendo following fan would even appreciate something like that. I think they'd be like, what? Because I feel like the games, and here's the crazy thing about this, and I did come up with a few, but when I thought of this, like when you're telling me like, when all the news was coming out about Next Level and everybody was like, who are they going to buy next? And like, when I've always thought of that, like the pie in the sky answers that I always come to are like Platinum. Like if Nintendo bought Platinum and they had like all those stuff, like that'd be awesome. they're not even close to being, like Western games. Or like the other one I was thinking is like Shinin, which is an indie type of thing. They did The Tourist, they did Fast Racing Neo. They're very good indie developer. They're also Japanese, so it's another thing. It's like when I think Nintendo, I almost think that brand, or like I almost want to venture that way. But I did do a little work here, so you guys can tell me what you think about mine while you're trying to think of, even before I even get to mine, Grezzo, which is their second party, folks.
Yeah.
They're also Japanese.
Oh, really? Okay.
So like, that's another thing.
Great.
But I did come up with some. All right. So, and I think I would be excited. Yeah, I would definitely be excited if Nintendo acquired any four of these folks for different reasons. The first one I came up with was Way Forward.
That was actually the one that came to mind for me. I wasn't sure if they were American or not.
They are, and I think that would be really cool. They make Nintendo-like games, Shantae.
That would be great.
They have a legacy there, so that would be really cool. I still don't even think of them as a Western type of game, but because they make anime-styled platformers, not necessarily. That's very much a Japanese thing. But yeah, that'd be cool.
Kind of fit with their style.
Yeah, Yacht Club.
That's what I was thinking. Yacht Club games.
That'd be very exciting, I think, for a lot of Nintendo fans. Yeah, because they very much make Nintendo, old school Nintendo game.
Yeah, that would be the best.
Garrett, Supergiant.
Yes. Okay. Sure.
What did they make again? Remind me.
Hades,
Pyre, Transistor,
Bastion.
Sure. I feel like they're fine without Nintendo, though.
No, they definitely are. I'm just thinking of who could they possibly? Because here's the other thing: when I think of who could Nintendo acquire, like when you're talking about like who is Xbox going to buy, who's PlayStation going to buy, I'm like, Bethesda and EA, and like I never even come close to that. I'm like, what's a cool indie developer that could Nintendo?
I mean, that's a cool indie developer.
It is a cool indie developer, and they make amazing games. And if it
comes only on Nintendo, I don't think people would be opposed to it. Yeah, exactly. I think so.
The last one was me trying to go a little outside the box for the question. Saber Interactive.
Okay.
What do they do?
They did World War Z.
Yeah.
They did WWE Playgrounds, 2K, NBA 2K Playgrounds. They've done a lot of stuff. They've actually kind of had they just got bought out from somebody for a lot of money. Let me look it up here. They did the Crysis remastered port. They're doing Evil Dead the game. They've worked on Halo in the past. They've done a lot of port work, Ghostbusters, Call of Cthulhu, things like that. They are, quote unquote, a Western dev that makes Western shooters and sports games and things like that. And they've worked with Nintendo. I do not think Nintendo would acquire Saber Interactive because I actually think it would be a very expensive acquisition. Very expensive. Because they've especially lately, the last few years, they've put out a lot of games that have made a lot of money. But if they acquired Saber Interactive and they had somebody else that was doing sports games in addition to Camelot, and like maybe they could bring in a basketball game with a license that was exclusive, or bring in a football game with a license that was exclusive, or do a shooter, a Western shooter that people get into, or a battle royale, or a Call of Duty clone, or anything like that. That would be really cool, and I would really like it. I don't think most Nintendo fans would care, personally.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Those are all good ideas, Donnie. Maybe it's just because it's on my mind, and I'm looking at it right here from a previous question, but Playtonic games?
Yeah.
Give them more resources to make,
I thought about them too.
Things like Donkey Kong and whatnot.
I also had Mercury Steam. They're the ones that did the Samus Returns port.
Yep. Yeah.
They did Castlevania Lords of Shadow, which I liked a lot.
Aren't they from Spain? I think they are.
I was going to say I thought they were Germany. I know they're in. I think they're Europe. Yeah, I think they're European.
Okay. Cool.
I don't think it matters, but yeah, I think they're in Europe. But I really those are Western. Like, well, Metroid wasn't, right, but like the Castlevania stuff they did was a quote Western style action game. That'd be cool. Like, it'd be cool for them to do something like that.
I was trying to think like a Western RPG that's like not owned by
Bethesda or by Xbox. They own them all now.
They like it's. I don't know who else to think about right
Xbox
now.
And then EA.
It's EA, and then I mean Sony has Horizon. Like it's
yeah,
it's all over. I can't think of because Xbox owns the Outer Worlds people too.
Elias says Mercury Steam is Spanish. Good job, Garrett.
Thank you. So sorry guys, I'm out of Western RPG developers right now. I would have to look up later. Indie Creates would be a great pickup, I think, for Nintendo, but that's not American markets, I think.
Not that they would ever do it. Not that they're necessarily even a developer, but if Nintendo ever bought Devolver, I would just be so absolutely adorably happy.
That'd be so anti.
That would be
Nintendo.
the funniest thing ever. I mean, it would be the best. Man, my uncle that works at Nintendo, if they did.
I actually got a good one. Chucklefish Games.
Ooh.
They make a lot of cool pixelated type of, and all sorts of different kinds of genres too. You got Stardew Valley, and then you got some turn-based games, Wargroove. So I would totally see Chucklefish.
That's good
with Nintendo.
Yeah, good one. So
good ideas there. Last question. G-Man wants to know, with the update to Animal Crossing New Horizons coming year, do you think there will be announced Super Mario items coming to the game? And maybe with Zelda's 35th anniversary this year, could there be a release of Zelda items coming too? He also says, happy 2021. Maybe I'm making this up. Did they say, I think, that they're adding Mario items to Animal Crossing already?
I don't remember that, actually.
I just made that up. But there used to be a lot of Nintendo items in Animal Crossing before, and they're all missing in this game. I don't know why I thought that, like that they said in March or whatever for the 1 year. It was either that or like for Pocket Camp. I'm not sure which one. But they should. I think they should. They already have all of these item ideas that were in previous games that they could add for it, both Mario and Zelda and others.
Star Fox. I'm looking at a picture.
It was in the Mario
Metroid.
Direct.
There's Pikmin. There's Star Fox stuff. Right, there's Triforces, backgrounds, wallpaper, blocks, shells, Mario Karts, all kinds of stuff.
So get all those items.
Yeah. Apparently it was in the Direct for that it is coming to New Horizons. I think it would make sense for them to do that for Zelda too. They had the Master Sword, the Triforce, they had lots of stuff.
That'd be a great way to keep that game going.
It really would be, and like I would hate to see them do it with paid DLC, but that would make them a fortune, and I would buy it.
Do it, Nintendo.
They should do it for free because it used to be for free.
Nah.
Yeah, I wonder if are they going to do a DLC pack this year? Do you think they're going to?
My impression was all of the year one content that came out was planned ahead of time. I think they held back a lot of content to add it in the year one update, and I think this year they've been working on next year's updates, which I think we'll either see in continuous free updates or DLC. It would be very smart for them to do the DLC, but the reason why I think they might continue to push out free updates is because it's the same team as the Splatoon team, and we got updates for 3 years for that game for free.
Yeah, but we never got I don't know, it's not licensed, but gear in Splatoon. I would have liked to have seen Mario and Zelda gear in Splatoon and would have paid for it.
Yeah. People were saying that they could have done that with the amiibo support, scan your Zelda amiibo, get special Zelda themed gear.
The answer is to do both, right? You do some free Mario stuff, but then the really cool items, maybe you put them behind. I mean, Nintendo's not opposed to having DLC. We've seen what they've done with Smash, and Animal Crossing is a bell buster. You just make all the bells, sit back and just rake in the money.
I would buy it.
I would like to see, not that I care because I'm not playing it, but I would like to see Animal Crossing do bigger expansions instead of these little seasonal updates with a couple new items and stuff. I would like to see more of a Destiny-like approach with a big update that brings a whole new mechanic and some gear and a new villager, and I'd like to see a little bit more, at least annually. Here's the annual update to kind of refresh the game a little.
I think it would make a lot of sense for them to do it, and that's what I'm anticipating, honestly. I think next year we'll get very repetitive with the same exact events and the same exact, item pools and everything.
They're going to have to refresh a little bit, I think, to keep the audience up.
And my hope is that that's what they've been working on all this year. I think as we got the updates for this year, it's clear that they did make some changes along the way based on feedback from previous events. Couldn't have taken them this whole time. They have to be working on something.
Yeah.
You hope.
We'll see how they do this year.
We'll find out next week when we talk about 2021 and all the things we hope and wish the year ahead of us will have.
Yep.
But that'll do it for us on this show. Remember, next week we game for Guru. So we record on Thursdays. The podcast goes on Fridays. But next week it will be delayed until Sunday. So you will not have the podcast in your feed like you normally do. But once we record it on Sunday, it'll go out as fast as I can turn it back around Sunday afternoon. So you'll have it then, and then we'll be back on schedule. So gaming for Guru. Make sure you go find it. Check me out on Twitter. Come find out all the information, and we'll continue to keep pumping it as we lead until next Sunday. But until then, we'll catch you next time. Good night, Koopalings.
Bye-bye.